Hey folks, my guest today is Sham Rajamani. He's the co-founder and CEO of a company called SharePlay, which brings communities to sport. SharePlay is the perfect melding of his loves, sports and getting people to play. With over 20 years of entrepreneurial experience in diverse industries with a focus on sales, his vision is to create a supercharged sporting ecosystem. All right, Sham, you ready to take us to the top?
Yep.
All right, what's your favorite sport?
Well, I play squash and I also do a lot of running. So those are my two main go-to sports. But I've started playing a little bit of tennis and basketball here and there just to keep some interest going and learn some new sports as well.
And so, did you build this for yourself to start?
Well, not really. Well, kind of. About 3 years ago, before we started this, me and my co-founder used to play soccer, football down in the neighborhood playgrounds, but then it was always full. So we thought about spaces to come up with where people could anyone could pretty much go in and play, right? So the primary motive of SharePlay was to get people to come out of their neighborhoods, come out of their houses, and find places to play. And we couldn't, so we thought up of a lot of places where we could go and sign up and maybe build some infrastructure and all of that. And then we looked at the number of schools that are there in India. So we primarily work with schools and universities and colleges that have a lot of sporting infrastructure because India has got about 100,000 private schools and maybe 5 to 10 times that in terms of public schools. And a lot of these schools have some kind of sports infrastructure, whether it's a standard mud ground or a basketball court or a volleyball court or something even better for some of the schools. But they're there in every neighborhood, and they're all closed after 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Because schools are at 3. So we saw an opportunity there to create neighborhood sporting centers, so anybody could just come in from a 2 kilometer radius to and get a game of their favorite sport.
Interesting.
Sorry,
Yeah. So, it's almost like meetup events, but for sports specifically. And
Yeah.
Sham, who pays for this? How do you make money?
So our SharePlay already lists all of our facilities, all the schools and all the sports facilities that are there, and we sell them by the hour. So a large part of our population is the school students themselves who come back, maybe senior school students. 60% of our customers are between the age of about 16 to 21, where they come in and they book out the sports facilities with their friends, with their neighbors, and they come in and use it. Later on through the day, some facilities are open till midnight, and we have a lot of older people coming in and using it who finish work and they come in. Right. So most of our customers live in that neighborhood in a 2-3 kilometer radius. So we're kind of creating play centers for people who wouldn't normally go to a private space or pay a club membership to get a membership.
So if I open the application today, how many different venues will I see available for me to book time?
You'll be able to choose from about 22 different sports from about 15 different venues at the moment.
So where geographically are you based mainly?
We are in Chennai in India.
Okay,
in the
interesting.
south of India.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raised, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview.
And so I guess the right question is in July, so last month, the full month, how many individual people played via a reservation through your app?
We get last year in July, we were actually
last July. This year,
which was 2 months ago.
Yeah, this year in July.
We would have had about 500 to 600 individual bookings. Each group would have been anywhere between 8 to 15 people who would come in and play.
And so what do you make on let's just make the math easy, a 10-person group playing on one of your courts?
So we charge, so it costs different amounts of money for different types of sports, like racket sports, like badminton might be a little lower priced. Sports like
what's low though? What's the price? What's the low price?
The lowest price is 400 rupees. That translates to about $8 per hour.
Per person, or for the whole? I can take 10 people in.
You could play maybe about between 2 and 4 and 6 people could play on a racket sport, maybe a badminton court. Basketball courts would probably be somewhere double, close to double of that, between $10 and $15. Cricket grounds would go up to $20 per hour. We also got bookings that go on through the entire day. So then we kind of maximize, create some discounts for these people. We've got memberships, people who subscribe and play 1 hour every day for a particular time slot. So they prepay us in advance as well.
Interesting. And so in July, when you had 500 to 600 bookings, how many hours does that equate to in July? Is that about 500 or 600 hours?
No, typically each booking is about 2 to 2.5 hours. Because they're team sports and they end up making multiple bookings. So they would go on for about 2-3 hours. So it would be close to about 1,000 hours of gameplay that we've had last month.
Yeah. So if we take 500 hours booked times 2 hours a pop, so it's 1,000 hours at $10 on average per hour. $8 per hour is cheap. 16 per hour might be a basketball court, but an average of $10 an hour. I mean, you're doing like between 10 and 20 grand a month in revenue.
10 and 20 grand. Yeah, that's pretty much right.
That's very cool. And you mentioned you've been doing this for 3 years. So if you're doing between $10,000 and $20,000 a month today in revenue, what were you doing exactly 1 year ago?
1 year ago, we started about 3 months before the first lockdown. So in December 2019. So we got shut down 4 months after that. And we kept getting shut down for a long period of time. So we just had 2 centers back then till last July. So since last July, over the last few months, we've signed up a lot more centers and we're expanding. We should be at about 25 to 30 centers over the next 4 to 6 weeks. So we see our revenues growing only from this financial year. So this is the only financial year that we're fully open without a lockdown.
And Tom, are you doing this full time?
Yes.
Very cool. And do you have co-founders or just you?
I have a co-founder. His name is Raghu. So we both of us started this together.
Interesting. Were you guys nice at the beginning? You just split it 50-50?
Yeah, we go 50-50. We split it 50-50.
And have you stayed bootstrapped or did you decide to raise some capital?
So we were bootstrapped till about 4 months ago. We did a small pre-seed round building that's happening. We're making money for the schools that we work with. We've shown that we can monetize their properties when they don't use it. And so we've shown all that value because we're building out software to help our schools manage themselves. And
so, Shyam, real quick, sorry. Before we get too far away from the raise, so you did a seed round 4 months ago. How much did you raise?
In dollar terms, about $70,000.
$750,000. And what makes this?
No, 70,000.
70,000.
Yeah.
70,000.
So we didn't want to raise too much money at this point of time because operationally we are profitable, but we needed money more to build our tech so that we're moving out of a completely manned operated service to a subscription based model, and we're selling staffing services as an add on as well. So
And
that's the model that we're moving towards.
and so how many folks are on the team full time today?
We have 2 full-time folks in operations. We've got 2 in tech, and we've got about 15 to 20 part-timers who kind of work at the centers.
So 19 total, something like that.
19 total, yeah.
Why do you have to staff the actual centers? Don't they have their own staffers that run the venues?
Well, that's why we're coming to this assessment. When we started off, we've been staffing all of our centers because these are schools, and schools have a lot of apprehensions in terms of letting people in and who's coming in to use the facilities. So we provide staffing for the hours that we operate. And so when we do that, we do a revenue share with them. But as we've gone along, we've seen that certain centers and certain schools with the right mix of sports, they make a lot of money. But there are also certain schools maybe in smaller neighborhoods, might be smaller centers with smaller playgrounds that don't make it a lot of money. And they're not very happy to share they're not very happy to share revenue base because it takes away a lot of the money that potentially they could make. Right?
Understood.
Even though it's a smaller amount. So what we've started doing with those over the last 2 months is we push them out to a self-managed model where they kind of manage themselves and they're paying us a flat fee. So we're kind of experimenting with that.
And so how many folks, like how many customers would you say you have per month right now? 500?
Our customer database is about 1,500 unique customers who have come and played with us over time. About 500 to 600 would be repeat customers who keep coming back every month, who are regulars at our centers.
Yep, interesting. And so if they don't want to pay the per court fee, what's the flat subscription fee they can pay?
So the subscription is paid by the school or by a sports center who would buy our service. And the service basically gets them their admin portal, also gets them to list their facilities on shareplay.in, which is our website. So people in the neighborhood or their customers, their students, their alumni, their network could book and use their sports facilities.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you raise the $70,000, what did you raise it on? Was it a safe or a note or?
So we've actually raised, we've taken money from a few friends, from 3 friends, and we've got 1 incubator to participate in that round as well.
And so how did you guys negotiate valuation with friends? That can be hard.
Well, we did a $1 million valuation plus or minus 3%, and we did the math. We spoke to a few people. We spoke to a lot of people who are in the industry of helping people get funds. And the 3 people who actually put in money have been with us right from the start, who wanted to put money right in our first year. But we didn't take it till now because I think we need a little more proof of concept ourselves and make sure that we're on the right track. And we knew, and this is kind of where we know that our sales cycle is kind of increasing, our pipeline is good, and we see us getting to about 80 to 100 schools by the end of December.
Tell me about that. How are you driving growth? I mean, going and recruiting people door by door is a lot of work. How do you do that?
Well, at the moment, we are knocking on doors of schools, but we're also getting a lot of referrals from our existing schools because a lot of schools have seen that this is money that they haven't made before, even though it's smaller amounts, and they've seen that money can do a lot. Right? They can use it for sports infrastructure. They can use it for improving the school facilities, pay off a few salaries for some teachers if they have to, and they're seeing the value that we bring in that ecosystem as well.
Yeah, this is great. If there's a local school that already spent the money to build a tennis court, but the school only uses the tennis court right after school from 4 to 5 p.m., well, you can book it up and generate more revenue from 5 p.m. onwards.
Yeah, and if it's lit up, some of our venues are open till midnight. So the longer they're open, the more money they make.
I love that, Shyam. What a great business model. I love that. Is there any tech? Is the tech heavy behind this, or is this really sort of a physical play? You just got to go, knock on doors, hit the ground.
Well, at the moment, the tech wasn't really important. But as we're moving where the schools and private centers or even clubs can start buying our software and use it at a probably as low as 2,500 rupees, which would be about $30 per month per school, it would give them access to a whole bunch of, not admin control, where they have their supervisors in the school knowing what is happening, opening up and closing hours so that it doesn't disrupt the internal school use as well. And also give it out to their security protocol, so they know who's made a booking and who's coming in, and pretty much make the entire process seamless right from the time they make a booking till billing happens and that book gets closed. Right, wherever people, some facilities do want our staffing services, which we provide additionally over this. So we staff it for the times that they're open.
Well, Sean, we're rooting for you. We're out of time, though. On that note, let's wrap up here with famous five. Number one, favorite book.
Um, Most recent favorite book was Shoe Dog by Phil Knight.
It's a good one. Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Not particularly, but a few of them. There's Elon Musk, which who I really like. There's Girish Mathrubootham of Fresh Desk. There's Mr. Ratan Tata of the Tatas. Right. So these are few of the guys that I follow at the moment.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building SharePlay?
So we use a lot of Asana, and we also use a lot of Google Sheets at the moment.
Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
6 to 7.
Okay, that's pretty good. In situation, married, single, kids?
Married with 1 kid. Yeah.
1 kid. And how old are you?
Got it. Yeah. 43.
43. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Travel more. I wish I traveled more.
Guys, what a fun story. The guy plays a bunch of sports himself. He says, wait a second, schools build a tennis court, then the tennis court is empty most of the day. I should rent it out for them and make money. Well, he's doing that. Over 500 people rented his courts last month alone. He did between $10,000 and $20,000 a month in revenue. Growing quickly now post-COVID. They have over 22 sports covered across 15 venues, mainly in Chennai, India, as they look to scale. Just raised $70,000 at $1 million valuation, so sold, under 7% of the business. Again, as they look to bring on some additional talent. Shyam, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you, Nathan. Thanks a lot.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.